Today, we are talking about traction control, specifically how to turn it off and drive fast without it. Modern F1 cars can deliver up to 1,000 brake horsepower, and to be able to extract every 10th lap after lap can be extremely challenging. It is an art. Thousands of sim racers have been in your shoes before, and a lot of them still depend on traction control to this day. But not you. Because in this video, I will show you everything that took me thousands upon thousands of hours to understand. This way, you won't make the same mistakes that I made, and you can already jump ahead of the curve when it comes to learning and strengthening the correct driving habits. We're gonna start by looking at the basic, fundamental theory behind it. And once we have that down, I'm gonna take you through a step-by-step guide with 4 levels of traction control mastery so that you can take your driving level from noob to advanced. First off, what is traction control? Before I can show you how to gradually get closer and closer to the limit of grip while driving, you need to first understand what traction control is actually used for. Now remember, this is something that was so busted that made cars go so fast that the FIA had to ban it when Williams showed up with it one year to a Grand Prix. Traction control is an electronic system that works by reducing the power delivery to your wheels whenever the tires slip, or in other words, grip loss. This ensures the perfect amount of power from your engine is delivered at all times to your wheels. In the F1 games, however, it severely limits the amount of engine power that you can actually output. This is why full traction control is always going to be a lot slower than driving without traction control. When you turn traction control off, you're essentially doing the computer's job. But a human brain will never be able to predict or react as quickly as a computer could, unless you follow the exact steps in this video. Because I'm gonna show you how to get as close as possible to this limit of grip. Are you ready? Let's go. First, I'm gonna ask you to forget everything you know about traction control. The first thing to understand about traction control is that it has nothing to do with the pedals, but everything to do with your steering wheel. Ever heard of the string theory? Where an invisible string attached to your steering wheel pulls your foot off of the brake pedal as you start to turn into the corner? I don't really like that explanation because it's a little too basic for something that is a lot more complex. And I think there's a better way to explain it. Think of this bar as the amount of grip an F1 car has. You will always have the most amount of grip when both of your front tires are pointed straight. Anytime you brake or turn, you're gonna take some of this bar, some of the grip available to the car. This means you have less grip to do other things. Things like the throttle. If you attempt to accelerate too hard and get out of this bar, you are going to spin and die. You can see this right away when you attempt a standing start. If your car is completely straight and you floor the gas, yes, you will get wheel spin, but you will not immediately spin and end up in the barriers. However, if I use the same amount of throttle with my steering wheel already cranked all the way to the left, I will inevitably spin and then die. The exact same thing happens mid-corner. Are you still following? Good. Because this is about to get even crazier. Let's get back to the bar that represents the amount of grip your car has. As you slow down towards the apex and get back on the gas, remember your tires are still working hard to make the car turn. So the amount of available grip for gas is a lot less than what you would have on a straightaway. And if you go over the limit of what grip the car has, then you will spin. This is why you need to be a lot more gentle when you first get back on the gas coming out of a corner. But as the car picks up more speed and your steering wheel starts to unwind towards the outside, you can start putting down more and more gas. This is because your car is doing less and less turning, and that frees up more grip for gas. What happens when the car is fully straight? That's right, you get more grip. Obviously, there are other factors such as rain, degraded race tires, driving a high downforce versus a low downforce setup. These are all things that I'm going to talk about in my upcoming tutorial series on F1 25, so stay tuned. And at this point, 50% of the work is already done. The other 50% comes down to how well you apply this principle to each and every specific scenario when you drive. And this is what we're going to take a look at next. And at any point in your journey, if you feel like you're still struggling, just remember to give yourself time and to keep practicing. Even real-life F1 drivers have a tough time extracting every bit of performance from the car. Now, let's take a look at the different levels of traction control mastery. Level 1. I call this level the scaredy cat. Because when you first start driving without traction control, you always fear suddenly losing control and spinning. You have no idea where the actual limit of grip is, so you are very, very gentle when you get back on the gas. Often too gentle, which makes you slow. And even I have trouble trusting the car fully a lot of the times, because I started learning driving without traction control in F1 22. Oh, the good old days. It is absolutely okay to be slower than when you had your assists on, and focus on keeping the car stable, and always ask yourself this question at any given moment: is my car straight? If you spin, take a look at the replay and try to spot what you could have done better. Was my car straight? How straight was my car here? Did I use too much throttle? Did I add too much throttle too quickly? Because these are the important building blocks that will make you a faster driver. Level 2, the master jumper. Once you start to get more comfortable without traction control, this is where you get a little bit more ballsy with the gas. You try to get back on the gas a little quicker, you try to get back on the gas a little harder, but there's still a huge problem. You're either still dead slow, or you have crazy tire wear in the race because you have too much wheel spin. How do we solve this? By using a driving technique that a lot of fast drivers use, including the esports drivers. Throttle jump. Now, as you get closer to the apex and fully come off the brakes, you can jump back on the gas a little quicker. Immediately jump back on the gas by a hefty amount. This is because the car can handle a bit more than just a tiny bit of gas. In part thanks to downforce, but also when you accelerate, your weight moves to the back of the car and it pushes your rear wheels down into the ground, giving you more grip in the rear tires. And from that moment, gradually increase your throttle until you reach 100% and your car is going straight again. Just by doing this, you will already gain a buttload of time and your rear tires will thank you a lot in the race. However, we're not done yet, and this is where things get more and more interesting. Level 3, the fake racing line. By using what we learned before, and by becoming more and more consistent through practice, you should already be pretty fast without traction control. But it's still not perfect, and there's still time to find on the table. Now I call this next level the fake racing line, because you look like you're driving the same lines as the esports drivers, but you're not going as fast as they are. Why is that? This is because, despite all of your best efforts, you are still severely under the limits. You aren't carrying as much minimum speed through the corner. And there's an easy way to see whether you are. On corner exit, as you get back on the gas more and more, try to turn your steering wheel towards the inside. If your car actually turns in, this means you're not going as fast as you should on corner exit, and you can be more aggressive with throttle. But if the car refuses to turn or simply snaps, this means you're probably pretty close to the limit already. Remember what we talked about in the beginning of this video. Driving without traction control must be mastered through the steering wheel before it comes to the pedals. How much you steer has a direct impact on how much grip your car has. Do this and you will shave a couple of few tenths again off of your lap time. Level 4, master of traction control.
Out there is the perfect lap.
Do you see it? Out there. Not a lot of people do, but it is out there, I assure you. At this stage, you should have a pretty solid understanding of how to drive without traction control, leading up to the corner exit. How much gas do you initially jump to? How quickly can you get back to 100%? This is as much setup dependent as it is track dependent. There's hundreds of different factors to take into consideration, and this is not something that can simply be shown. You have to experience these by yourself, and these experiences can only come with practice and time. Even the pros don't extract 100% out of the car every single time, and that is okay. But the difference between a good and a great driver lies in the homework they do in the braking phase leading up to when they get back on the gas. Traction comes easy to them because they've already done the homework in the braking and turn-in phase of the corner. As soon as they hit the apex, the car looks already pretty much straight, and this allows them to get back on the gas a lot earlier. Driving on a wet track, driving on old, worn tires versus driving a low or high downforce setup, these all require different driving techniques and inputs. The true beauty in sim racing lies in sharpening your craft and becoming better and better at what you do day after day. This doesn't mean you won't meet failures or make mistakes along the way. Trust the process. Only time and slowly nurturing the right driving habits can take your driving to the next level until you become more and more one with the car. What level of traction control mastery are you currently on? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. And if you know somebody who might benefit from this guide, don't hesitate to share the video with them. This is Formula Kai signing off, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.